There is a lot of doubt here that Tua Tagovailoa will still be available when the Dolphins pick at number 5. How are you viewing that and factoring it in to your mock draft?
I completely agree. And I think if his medical is good and if he's cleared and continues to progress, I think that you're going to see a team like Miami who has 3 picks in the first round, 2 picks in the second round, and has 6 picks in the top 70 overall. I mean, they have the capital to go and move up to go get Tua Tagovailoa at number 3. The Detroit Lions could move out of that spot. If it's not 3, the Giants have already said they're open for business at 4. So it's highly likely that if Tua is healthy and if he continues to progress as he thinks he is and his doctors are claiming that he is, that he's going to wind up going in the top 3 to 4 picks in this year's draft.
All right, McShay, stay here with us. I want everyone to be involved in this conversation because that's obviously a big if. And we were talking about this in our meeting this morning, Josina, and you have some doubt because of the history of injury. And Laura's been giving us regular medical updates. It does seem to be tracking well, but some doubt that they will give up a lot of capital to go get him.
Well, because first of all, I'm like, how can you know this? I mean, even if he gets cleared March 9th and he has his pro day April 9th, it's not like Von Miller is going to be at the pro day in terms of knowing what he's going to look like when it's actually a football Sunday. So to me, I mean, even if he's cleared, you don't erase the knowledge of knowing that he has that injury history. That is still a lot of draft capital to give up to go and get him, regardless of whether you have it or not. Specifically after you saw what happened with the Bears last year, using that capital, getting Trubisky, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point. For you to trade up for a quarterback, you have to know that the medical is absolutely flawless. And until we know that, I agree with Josina. Now, assuming that is the case, I don't see this guy going past 3. If Daniel Jones, as Dan mentioned, went 6, Tua is just too talented. So if the medical hangs in the balance, if it's cleaned up, I think he goes early.
Is he so good, Dan,
Yes,
that you would overlook all of these obvious concerns?
Well, it's not an overlook, but you take it into if Tua is so good that if his medical comes back and very promising, he's not getting past 2. Like, he will not last past the second pick. I don't believe that Washington will take him, but someone will have to jump Detroit at 3 because Tua is that good. This is a guy that is in the conversation to be the greatest passer college football ever saw. I don't say that lightly. The greatest passer college football ever saw. So if you have the opportunity to, guys, I've said this, Greeny, it's going to take a courageous team and general manager and head coach to take him, and it's going to take a courageous team to not go get him.
They're looking for a flawless medical. It won't exist because he has this history. It is part of the risk here, and it's why it's interesting to me that in talking to the doctors that I've talked to, the Dolphins are one of the teams that have asked the most about Tua. They could be doing that because they're a team that is opposed to risk, and that's something that they kind of stand by. They also could be doing it because they're the most interested.
I don't know.
Yeah, you need to have a plan, though. We've talked about this. You could draft him and say he's not going to play this year, or at a minimum put him on PUP, which means he is ineligible for the first 6 games.
But not that high. Like, you cannot give up that capital.
Well, Josina, we saw that
high. I mean, that is so much to do.
We saw that with Kansas City, though. Kansas City had Alex Smith. They traded up for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes didn't play until the last game of his rookie year. So I agree. Traditionally, you wouldn't trade up and sit a guy. But if you're making this 10-year transformational decision, you don't want to put him in harm's way until you know he's totally healthy.
You're still hoping to see that he doesn't fall. A 300-pound guy doesn't fall on him, do something again to that hip. You know, seeing how he just handles being tackled and all those other things, that's not something that you're going to be able to see in a pro day.
Oh, I'm told that we're going to get McShay back in a second. We're having a little brief technical moment with him. But let me ask you, some of the knock on Tua has been that part of the injury comes from his lack of willingness to throw the ball away. Are those things, in your experience, that can be coached out of a young player, that he will learn not to take those hits? Because we have seen that as a problem with a lot of other young quarterbacks.
100%. And because we have to remember, when Tua burst onto the scene as a freshman, it was instant success. I can make every play. I can make every throw. And then he has the season last year, which is very similar, where it's like, I'm as dominant as I want to be. He's never had really to be forced to throw the football away. And so that is something that you can absolutely learn and coach into a player. I think it's easy. It's this easy for the Miami Dolphins or a team that wants to go get to it. Do you want to have the opportunity to choke on greatness or nibble on mediocrity? Because you have to go be willing to chase down a great player. And that's what the Dolphins...
And there's this guy named Trevor Lawrence that's still out there that you can potentially wait for.
But you better be the first pick. You better be making the first pick.
I don't know. And again, I still feel like he has the talent. I'm not saying I love watching him at the podium. You can tell he commands the stage. He has this leadership quality, completely comfortable in his skin. I'm just saying I'm not doing it at the top of the first round.
One quick point, Dan, on what you're saying about throwing the ball away. When I spoke to Tua when he made his announcement announcement that he would be declaring for the NFL, he brought up on his own, I know that I need to work on that. He said that will not happen at the next level. We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube.
For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app.
And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.